2 days before the criminally indicted frontrunner's deadline to surrender to justice, the rest of the Republican candidates for president will hold their first debate. The New York Times got its hands on the debate prep packet for Ron DeSantis, which was apparently accidentally published online. It's a pretty funny document. It tells DeSantis to defend Donald Trump, who reportedly has chosen not to show up at the debate, and to hammer Vivek Ramaswamy, who is rocketing up the polls in New Hampshire as both Trump and DeSantis decline. And that strategy, those details, those two lines just kind of perfectly encapsulate the bizarro world of the Republican presidential primary, in which there is one commanding frontrunner, the guy who tried to undo the American Republic, facing 4 criminal trials, found by a jury to be liable for sexual abuse, but none of the other candidates want to actually take him on, except for Chris Christie, who will be at the debate, and former Governor Asa Hutchinson of Arkansas, who as of now has not met the donor requirements to make the debate stage. Governor Asa Hutchinson joins me now. He was governor of Arkansas from 2015 until this year. It's good to have you on, sir. First, tell me about your status on the. I will admit that the metrics for making it got a little in the weeds for me to stay on top of. So where are you in terms of that?
Well, thanks, Chris. And we're going to make the debate. We're not there yet. And the RNC requires 40,000 unique donors to make the debate stage. We're getting close. We've got till Monday, close of business, to make that 40,000. And so asa2024.com is where you go to make sure I get on the debate stage. And I'm not going to defend Donald Trump. I will be a prosecutor. I will be telling the truth on Donald Trump, and whether he's there or not, he will be a focal point of issue, both what happened on January 6th, but also how he will not lead the Republican Party well into the future.
So this sort of encapsulates the issue here, right? The bind everyone's in. You and Chris Christie, at least, have a theory of the case, right? Donald Trump, the frontrunner, is unfit for office. He shouldn't be the president. And also, he's a political liability. I think both you and Christie think he's actually not a strong nominee. Okay, fine. The problem is Republicans don't seem to want to hear that. Like the vast majority of the base, right? So, I mean, like, our viewers might like that, but, like, they're probably not voting in the Republican primary. The question is, like, how do you make that case to the people that most need to hear it?
Well, great question. And, of course, I'm in Iowa, and the sense I get in Iowa is that Donald Trump is in the default position right now until they decide where they want to go as to the best alternative. The debate will play a key role in that. But let me assure you that the Iowans that I talk to recognize if we're going to win, we've got to go in a different direction. There's too much smoke there, and they're really discouraged by it. So the debate is that opportunity for me to make sure that we showcase the alternative, a different direction from Donald Trump, and hold him accountable as he should be.
You know, let me ask you this. This is a question I'm obsessed with. Now, I don't really have a dog in this fight. It's, you know, who the Republicans nominate, aside from my love of our country and America's constitutional democracy. And one thing that I just feel like would keep me up at nights, if I were anyone who worked in Republican politics, is this kind of nightmare scenario, timing-wise, where Trump rolls to win the nomination and he secures it just as he goes on trial for the gravest political crime since secession, and maybe is convicted. And then it's like, it's the summer, maybe it's before or after the RNC, the Republican Party's got this nominee who's just been convicted. And that just seems like a nightmare, and no one in the Republican Party seems nearly as freaked out about that as I am when I think about it.
Well, it's a realistic possibility, and I've actually made the case that you were in a terrible position in Iowa, New Hampshire, because these federal cases and state cases are not going to be resolved with Donald Trump before they start voting in the Iowa caucus and the New Hampshire primary, and probably even Super Tuesday. And so what are the voters supposed to do? And so that's where I think you'll see a gradual shift. How does that happen? By speaking the truth, by reality coming to them that we can't win with Donald Trump and we have to go a different direction. What I think they're looking at is who's going to be that alternative. And, of course, that's what we're fighting for. And that'll be a focus of the debate coming up next Wednesday.
Well, that's the interesting question, right? Like, who is going to be that alternative? I really think there's two categories. I think you and Chris Christie are making a case the front runner is unfit to serve and a political liability. So, and here's what I've done. You're both ex-governors. Here's why I'd be a good president. Everyone else seems to be just kind of like waiting around for the guy to like end up in the clink or like be like beamed up to Mars or something. And what are they like? How's that going to work?
Well, and that's where I believe that you have to be clear on what happened on January 6th. You can't be intimidated by a teenager who asks you a question as to what happened on January 6th and what's your views. It was an attack on our democracy. And so on the debate next Wednesday, there's not just going to be a difference with Donald Trump. There'll be a difference between the candidates. Some of the candidates will be defending Donald Trump. I'll certainly be on the side of telling the truth, but that's a defining moment. Who's going to be promising pardons? I don't think that's appropriate during a campaign. Others do. And so this is a critical time for us.
Okay, so you're on the trail. You're actually talking to the kinds of, now I imagine there's a little selection bias. Folks talking to you tend to be interested in your message, but I'm sure you're like, what are you getting back? What are those back and forth like? Do they know who you are? Are they like, you're the guy who hates Donald Trump and get out of my face? Are they like, what have those interactions been like?
No, actually, it's not like that at all. I mean, there's the media intensity on this issue, but whenever you talk to Iowans, there's a little bit of discouragement about what they see as unfairness in some instances, but also that our Washington is not working. But they're very interested in what's my view of energy policy, what's my view of agriculture, what's my view of Ukraine. So they get in and ask those subsidy questions. And that, quite frankly, is one of the reasons the debate's going to be exciting next week, that we can talk about some real policy issues if Donald Trump's not going to be there, even though he'll still be there in spirit and will be a subject that we'll all be talking about.
Well, I do think it would be good to hear some sort of substantive contentions about how people plan to govern and what they want to do. It would be really good to put that on full display and hash that out. Governor Asa Hutchinson, thanks for making some time with us tonight.
Thank you, and appreciate going to asa2024.com. Thank you all very much.
You bet. Good luck.